Do you feel like you received a good education as you were growing up here in Monticello?
As a matter of fact, Chris, I did. I went to grammar school and grade school there at the Wood Avenue School, up at the top of Wood Avenue on the hill, which is near the, I believe, North Main, and across the street from the old ARP church and another church, maybe it was the Christ of Science, I'm not sure. And from grade school, then I went on to junior high and high school at the W.C. Whaley High School over on Collins Avenue. I even tried to play football. I was like 135 pounds, stripping wet at that time. And I can remember many a time where Bob Hardy and I, a dear, dear friend, and Densley White were rolled over by Otis Davis, our big star tackle, and also the Black Twins, who were tough. I finally majored, that is, I finally lettered, that is, 1 year. I got my letter, but I never got off of the second string. Fortunately, I was tall and skinny, and I did letter 3 years in basketball. And I was co-captain my final year with a wonderful teammate who, gosh knows, I followed him for a while, a wonderful man named Kenneth Burkle. And my senior year there, an event happened that probably changed my life in many areas. Mrs. Beck, our English teacher, cast a senior play, and for some reason, I'm not quite sure to this day because I'm a stutterer, I stutter, and Mrs. Beck cast me in a play called Elmer with about two teenage girls with a younger brother, and I played the part of Elmer. Well, I think we had 2 production days, Friday and a Saturday night. It went over very well. I was shocked, and I guess I was very good, or I thought I was very good. Afterwards, surprised, but not probably as good as I thought. And that perhaps changed my life in many ways. And then after high school, I joined the Air Force, and I went into Air Cadets. And from the Air Cadets, automatically when I was put in the service, the war was winding down, and I was put in the ground crew, and I became a CW operator, that is CW radio operator and teletype. And I was in the Air Force for 2 years, and a year of this was on Guam and 2 or 3 months on Saipan. I returned, and I went to Arkansas A&M on the GI Bill for 1 year there. And I pledged, as a matter of fact, by LAMDA Chi, and one semester had the honor of being the president of the fraternity.
So you went to college at Arkansas A&M, which is now the University of Arkansas at Monticello.
That's right, Chris. And then I transferred because I stuttered, and I was a stutterer. And I transferred to Western Michigan University, Kalamazoo, Michigan, because I wanted to work with Dr. Charles Van Riper, who was one of the top speech correctionists, or speech therapists, or speech pathology is called these days, at Western Michigan. Pardon me, when I let my child down. She's getting awfully rambunctious. So I studied with Dr. Charles Van Riper, and I graduated from the school there, and I took speech and dramatics, and I got a certain amount of control of my speech. And it was perhaps some of the happiest times in my life because I was doing what I wanted to do, and I did get control of my speech. And then I fell in love. Her name was Mary. Yep. Just like the song, a girl from Kalamazoo. And she's been most influential and has affected my life very much ever since. Because, not mentioning it to anyone, but at that time I knew I wanted to be an actor. So, as a matter of fact, I did my first summer stock outside of Kalamazoo between Augusta, Michigan and Battle Creek at the Barn Theater. from there, I went on to New York and studied there with Herbert Berghoff Studios and John Lynn, who was a disciple and was with the Actors Studio, but he taught classes on his own, that is. And I was relatively successful. At one time I had 12, 13 commercials running, and which was fun, and my career seemed to take off very much. And then from there I went on out to California to continue to be an actor. And as I mentioned, I went on to California to continue my acting. Some of my credits include reoccurring on Knots Landing, the Dallas television series I worked at a couple of times, and The Fall Guy, and a lot of low budget, a hell of a lot of low budget movies. And also quite a few voiceover as they are called. You hear the voice, but you don't see the actor. A special hello and love to my cousin, Clara Bailey, Bill Bailey's wife, and also to Mary Agnes Chase, who was a Bailey, and her husband, deceased now, David Chase, and congratulations to Dr. Tim, her son, who, as I understand, was elected president of the Dental Association of Arkansas, and their darling, his wife, of course, and the darling daughters, Summer and Madison. My love to my first cousin in Hamburg, Arkansas, patriarch Jimmy Clark and his darling wife, Peggy, and their family and their two beautiful daughters, blonde daughters, and I believe one is married to a dentist in Monticello. And also I would be neglectful if I didn't mention Billy Carson, classmate, graduated from high school together in the Carson family. Now at this time I'd like to show you around the house, and I'd like to zero in some pictures of dear friends of ours. So if you come with me now, we will continue the saga and the stories of hometown Monticello. I'm Byron Clark.
Hello, I want to give you a short tour of our home and show you some of our friends' pictures.
Here's a picture of Rudy Vallee, Ellie Vallee's late husband, and with his good friend Ronald Reagan. I believe he was governor at that time, soon to be president. And here's Ellie introducing some of our friends on or in our rogues gallery upstairs. There's Jack LaLanne on the left and his darling wife Lala, and Ellie Vallee and myself. Basically this was our first date over 16 years ago, 17, and we've been together ever since. I love her. And here's one of our prize photos in the Rogues Gallery. On the left there's Webb Lowe, a wonderful guy originally from Texas, and his wife, actress Ruta Lee. And of course, well known is Carol Channing there. And Wally, a well-known photographer here, with Marge Peterson, who's married to Bob Peterson. Marge was Miss Rheingold a number of years ago, and Bob Peterson is well known in automotive circles here and had a trade magazine, automotive something, and plus he has the car museum here. And of course that's my sweetheart and myself. This was a brunch after the Thalians, as I mentioned earlier about the Thalians, which is a charity group It does a lot of good work for Cedars Sinai and raises money and etc. here in Los Angeles. The late Ann Miller, myself, and my lovely wife, at one of our parties, she attended quite a few parties, and we got to know her very well, and it was an honor to know her. And here's Miss Ellie with the actor, nice, friendly, charming gentleman, George Hamilton, at a function in Beverly Hills. Here's a picture of myself and beautiful Terry Moore. She's still just lovely as she can be. And Ellie's just as lovely, my wife. And this was in our home at one of our get-togethers, AKA parties. I think it was an intimate sit-down dinner in our beautiful dining room.
Here are some more pictures of our friends in our Rogues Gallery.
Here is Michelle Phillips and myself at another party, which again was at our home. We're not having as many parties now, but we were having quite a few for quite a while. Here's Ellie with James Gardner and myself at a function in Los Angeles. We know him, but not really that well at all, but he's always nice to so many people and such a talented actor. And especially did he come through again in Notebook with Rachel McAdams, a lovely actress, John Cassavetes' wife, Gina Rowlands. In our Rose Gallery, here's a prize picture of Trudy Bogart and her gentleman husband, Bob Bogart. He's a wonderful guy and good man, but he also invented the air thing on the Nike shoes. So, and on the right is that gorgeous Laura Lee Knotts. She's married to Dr. Howard Murad of Murad Products. And she was married to Don Knotts for a little over 10 years anyway. She's a very good friend and close friend. Great picture of our dear, dear friend. We've gotten to know Phyllis Diller very well. Ellie knew her some time ago, but I've gotten to know her. It was with Phyllis Diller and myself in Ellie Valley. This was taken, I think, outside our home. There's a picture of my daughter, Shane Clark Axelrod, and with her husband. This is when she got married in Paris about 7, 8 years ago, and that's Benoit. And now she's expecting a small one. He will be named, or is named already, Samuel James Clark, and he's due in May, and we are going over and visit with her in Paris and then on to London. And here's Phyllis Diller, charming, funny one. I don't know where in the hell, pardon me, I don't know where in the heck this picture was taken, in our home or not, but it's such a good picture of Ellie. And the guy appearing in the background is Byron Clark. This is taken, I think, when Ellie and I first got together. It had to be at least 12 or 13 years ago, with funny lady and a darling woman, Phyllis Diller. And here's Miss Ellie and myself with one of the sweetest ladies, and it was such an honor to get to know June Haver. She passed away a couple of years ago, and she was married to Fred McMurray, as many of you know. And this is one of the charity functions, and throughout the years, she did become a good friend. As a matter of fact, we attended her funeral at the St. Martin of Tours Church on Sunset near Barrington in the Brentwood area, but not forgotten.